Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm here with another layout. This one is for the Precious Remembrance shop, and I'm going to be using some stamps from this stamp set, which is called Coffee Love, and then a few from this set, which is called the Blossom stamp set. And I'm also going to be using some die cuts, and I'll show you those when I get to that point. So I wanted to do some watercolor again. If you saw my last video for this design team, I used watercolors to color the stamps, and I chose some stamps that I hadn't used yet, and I'm going to make this very artsy and abstract. Now, when I looked at this set, my favorite piece in this set is the circle with the little heart, and I've never used this coffee cup before. Number one, I hate coffee. I know that's probably the wrong thing to say because I know everybody else loves coffee, but I have never liked coffee and I probably never will. Well, I guess you said never say never, but I just don't like coffee. And so I really have no reason to use this stamp. So I thought I'm going to challenge myself to use it in a way that suits me. And so what I'm doing here is I'm going to create a random, messy, artsy stamped background on some white cardstock. It's just smooth white cardstock, and I'm using my Japanese Gansai Tambi Kuretake, I'm sure I'm butchering that, watercolors here. I love these watercolors, and I'm just creating sort of a rainbow of all these different coffee cups. I'm overlapping them, I'm stamping them upright to the side on top of each other, and I'm just kind of experimenting and going here. I just picked a couple stamps. Now I'm going to use the heart with the circle around it and just stamp it in a couple different places. And this is going to look like a hot mess, but I promise you I'm going to make something out of it. So don't cringe yet. Now, if you follow me, you know I like getting messy and I like creating, messy, artsy type backgrounds. And so I was just in the mood to do something random, so that's what I'm doing here today. Now this is a new sheet, and I wanted some black in this layout, and so I'm using some black archival ink, and I'm stamping that coffee cup again. I'm stamping it once and then again, and the second stamp is going to be a little bit lighter, and so I'm getting some variation on the color. And from the Blossom stamp set, I'm going to use the word art. I hadn't used this yet. And these coffee cups have nothing to do with art, but I'm just kind of going random. Like I said, this is not really going to make any sense at this point, but I think it comes together in the end. This stamp is also from the Blossom set, and it says happiness, and I'm just stamping it lots of times in a row. And then I'm going to use the stem. I've used the flowers before, but I have not used the stems yet, and I'm just stamping them wherever there's a white space. And this is something that you can do with any stamp. So you may have bought a stamp set because you liked one particular stamp, but there are some stamps on there that you didn't really care for or that you probably would never use. And for me, that's that coffee cup. But there are some other pieces on there that I do like, but I thought, you know what, let's use one that you wouldn't normally use. Okay, so now I'm going to go back with my watercolors and just sort of add some shading here and there into these cups. And I did this same technique last time when I did the mason jar layout, and that was kind of a random one also. This one's even more random. What I'm going to wind up doing is punching circles out of this, and so you're not ever even going to be able to tell that I used a coffee cup or a circle with a heart. Everything is going to look very random and abstract. And that was my whole purpose for this. So there are ways to use images and stamps that you look at and you say, I'm never going to use that. For me, it's this coffee cup. I don't drink coffee, so I really don't have any reason to ever use a big coffee cup stamp. However, this is a way around that. And so try to look at your things, not necessarily just your stamps, but your pattern papers or your embellishments. If you get something that you're like, I'm never going to use this. I know in some of the latest or recent, over the past few years, crate paper releases, there have been a lot of animals. like giraffes and zebras. And I remember a lot of people saying, I'm never going to use this. Well, this is a way that you could possibly use it if you make it random. If you like random type of things. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. This was fun. I was just kind of adding color, dabbing it up, making a mess. I'm going to do the same thing to this one. I'm going to start with some gold color shine, add some pink, add some blue, and these are shimmers. I played around with some of the shimmers and the watercolors over there to the right. I kind of mixed and matched. I just wanted to add color to the background. No rhyme or reason. I did not even really take my time doing this. I mean, I sped this part up for the sake of the video, but I really did do this really fast. Did not take very long at all. You don't even have to do the watercolor with the brush. You could literally just spray this with ink sprays. You could use gelatos. You could leave it black and white. There's so many different options and ways to do it, but I love color and I have a hard time narrowing it down. So when I have the whole rainbow in front of me, like in those watercolors, I just tend to want to use all those rainbow colors. And so, okay, so I've got two random messes here. Now I let it dry, and so I pulled out 4 different circle punches. You definitely want to let this dry because it's not going to punch very well if it's still damp, which I find this out here in just a minute when I use this stamp, or not stamp, punch. So you can see here, as I'm punching, the circles are very, very abstract, and you can't even really tell what I stamped on there. All you see is some black, some gold, some color, and this is going to make a fantastic random artsy background design. I know I keep saying random and artsy a lot, but that's just kind of how I describe this, because it is artsy and random. And so sometimes you have to kind of cut your paper to get to the exact spot that you want to punch. And you could do this with any shape of punches. You could even cut paper strips out of this. You could put this in your Cameo and die cut a word out of it or some shapes. So here are all my circles. I love how these turned out. Some of them are shimmery, some of them have black, some of them have just the watercolor. And they're just all very different and unique. And I love the colors. I love that there's a lot of shiny gold, lots of yellow, lots of pink. And I still have extra paper that I didn't even punch yet. And so now I'm going to use this picture, and I kind of went back and forth between, do I want to use a color picture or a black and white picture? And I'm going to go with the color picture. And it's actually a picture that I've already scrapbooked. I scrapbooked it for a Cocoa Vanilla Studio project a couple months ago, but the picture was in black and white. And so this one is in color, and I just love the colors in the picture too much to not use it. And this is interesting because I'm using a picture that's got purple in it, and I didn't use any purple at all on those circles. And so I thought, okay, that's another challenge, because usually if I'm going to use a color picture, it sort of has to match with my embellishments and paper and things. But I make this work even though there's no purple in the circles. I'm going to add purple to the background here, and that's a shimmers. It's one of the newer shimmers colors. It's called Plum Crazy, and it matches the purple in her shirt perfectly. I'm adding in some Jenny B Blue Vibes, which is an ink spray, some Heidi Swap Color Shine again, a little bit of yellow spray, which is called No Yoking. And I actually just love how this background looks. I was kind of just, the mojo was going here. Everything was kind of clicking. And I love how these colors turned out. The circles look so pretty up against the purple, even though I didn't even use any purple. And when I started making the circles, I really hadn't picked out my picture yet. And so when I went through my stash, and this was sort of an extra one, because when I made my first layout, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it in color or black and white. Well, the first time, like I said, I scrapped the black and white one, and I've had this one, and it's a little bit smaller, and I just love the picture, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to scrap it again, and who cares if I've scrapped the same picture twice? The layouts look totally different. Last time I used stars, and so this time I've got these circles, and I'm just going to randomly spread them out on the background just like you see here, and then create a little cluster over there to the right. Now I'm going to add a little bit of tissue paper behind my picture there just to give it a little bit of a border, and some foam so it will be raised up a little bit off of the page. And I'm going to lightly glue down the circles because I am going to wind up stitching through some of them, and I didn't want to move them because I would never get them back exactly like I had them, so I want to make sure they are stuck down. I'm going to add a little bit more purple, and I do kind of go back and forth with the inks and the paints because I do want it to be obvious that I used purple on the background to sort of pull out the purple in her shirt. And you really don't even notice that there's no purple in the circles. And I'm just spraying, adding a little bit with the spray, and then using my brush to kind of smudge it around. Sometimes I just use my finger. Sometimes your hands can be the best tools ever. So don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, to smudge something with your fingers, because sometimes it's better than a brush. I really like how this turned out. I really, really love the color scheme. I think it looks really, really pretty with that picture. And you saw how easy those circles were to make. Now here's where I did some stitching. I used black ink, or why do I keep saying the wrong thing today? Black thread, and I just made some crisscrosses in between some of the circles. I didn't do every single one. I didn't want it to be too crisscrossy. So now I'm going to come in with a little bit of a darker blue thread and some purple, and just add a little bit of a messy thread on both sides of the picture because this is messy and artsy. There, I said artsy again, and random. Now here's where I'm going to go into some die cuts, and this is the Love Coupon Bits and Pieces pack, and there are a ton of different little die cut pieces in there. There's things for journaling, there's things for the date. I'm going to use that love word, and I added some pink thread behind it. Now, these are some older American craft stickers. Lost my train of thought there for a second. And they're very, very thin. You can see through them, but they have a little bit of color to them. And I'm going to use the pink ones and the blue ones and just name this Too Cool because she just looks too cool in those gigantic sunglasses. This is a little sticker sheet from the Chanel Starshine collection, I think. I just reached into an old hip kit and grabbed a couple things that matched. And I just used a couple of yellow stickers that matched. And then this one's kind of a greenish one. It says amazing. And I'm going to use that over there. I was just looking for little random things to add in because when I make a layout like this, I don't really have a collection. I'm just kind of going with things that I created. Like I made those circles. I didn't cut those from any pattern paper, and so I don't really have a collection out on my desk. So everything that I'm using is just sort of random tidbits from here and there. So I added the journaling in. I'm going to cover up my picture, and I felt like it needed some black ink splatters just because there are bits of black going on through the circles and that die cut and the journaling. Even though it's not a black and white picture, I just felt like it needed some of the black ink. And then I do come in with some Spiegel Mom Scraps sequins, and I'm going to use, I think a light purple and almost a golden color. And then the final thing that I'm going to do is add in a couple more die cuts. These are from the Journey Bits and Pieces. That one says Capture the Moment, and then this one is for the date, and I'm just going to write it in, and I believe that is going to wrap it up. Yeah, I love how this turned out. Look at the colors. You have got to make a layout like this. If you like to get messy and random, spray some things, stamp some things down. You don't even have to use anything in particular because when you punch it out like this, you can't even tell what you started out with. And that's the beauty of it. Just create your own shapes, create your own background. It's really, really fun. And it's just fun to not use a collection and to just kind of make everything your own. So I hope you guys give this a try because it is a lot of fun. And the results are always really cool. You can make whatever color scheme you want. So let me know what you guys think. I will see y'all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.